I've been saying this a lot that overall this expansion is pretty terrible for Wild. So I think I'm going to go through the best and worst cards in each class for Wild. I'm not talking about the best individual cards, just what the best card is and most likely to see play in Wild is. Because Threads of Despair is an incredibly fucking powerful card. This is like, if we're talking about just the best card in each class, this is definitely it, but it's not going to see play anywhere, so that's why I don't think it's worthwhile talking about. So, for Death Knight, of course, the worst card for Wild, I believe, is Amateur Puppeteer. 5 mana, 2/6, miniaturized taunt, death rattle, give undead in your hand, +2/+2. This card's just, like, what? Even if there were, Rainbow Death Knight and Wild, you wouldn't play this card. It doesn't do anything useful. I don't really understand the purpose of it. Even for Standard, it seems like pretty stupid and just not really worthwhile playing, but, And then, of course, obviously, the best card for Wild Death Knight is Silk Stitching. It's 2 mana for a better school teacher. It's pretty cheap. There's a lot of really good 4-mana spells in Death Knight, so I do believe that it will be the best card in the class. Next, we have Hunter. The worst card is obviously Hemet. Obviously. 5 mana, 3/6. After a friendly beast dies, get a random legendary beast from the past. It costs 2 less. It has a condition, and it's random, and it doesn't have immediate board impact for 5 mana. It's way too useless. It doesn't win you the game, ever. I think it's worse than Mystery Egg. Mystery Egg sucks, but Hemet is worse. And then, of course, the best card is Jungle Gym. 2 mana, location, deal 1 damage to a random enemy, repeat for each friendly beast. 3 durability. So you deal 7 or 6, usually, damage 3 times for 2 mana. Yeah, that's really strong. You'll probably play this on 2, deal like 3, maybe 4 damage on 3. Then when it comes back up on 5, you'll probably deal the full 6 or 7 damage with it, which is pretty good. For Mage, the worst card is hard to say, actually. All of these cards suck. These 2 suck. This card is probably the worst one, though. Hidden Objects. 2 mana, discover a secret, set its cost to 1. The secret pool for Mage is so atrociously bad that, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's so bad. There are only, 5 good Mage secrets out of probably 20. So this card is horrible. Horrible card. Sees absolutely no play in any deck whatsoever. That being said, Khadgar is probably the best Mage card from this expansion, and it's still bad. You probably won't see Khadgar played anywhere outside of Reno Quest Mage, and its inclusion in Reno Quest Mage is probably not even that likely. I don't think Khadgar is good at all. I think Mage got absolutely fucked this expansion. All of these cards suck. It's crazy, but it happens. For Priest, the worst card, I think, is Play Matriarch. It's just a pretty mediocre big dragon. Doesn't really do anything. You're never playing. This card sees absolutely no play anywhere. It's not even meme-worthy good like some of the other cards. Just outright terrible. It's so expensive. It doesn't do anything useful. Miniaturized is a bad keyword. Useless. And then the best card, of course, is Raza of the Sealed. 5 mana, 5/5, Battlecry for the rest of the game. Your hero power refreshes whenever you play a card. That's just Anduin's effect with his hero power, and so Raza costs 3 less. Yeah, you lose the packaging of Shadow Word, whatever, the Ruin that Anduin has for 8 mana, but who cares? Because you want to win the game, and winning the game is better than removal. So that's why Raza is obviously the best card. For Rogue, the worst card is pretty debatable, actually. Goldbeard is terrible, Water Cannon is terrible, Crystal Cove is terrible, Everything Must Go is terrible. All the other cards are actually pretty okay. I think I have to give it to Everything Must Go because this card doesn't function. How do I put this? Rogue will never draw 8 cards in one turn. Rogue can draw 5, 4, 6 in that range cards in one turn pretty consistently, but 8 cards is not something Rogue can do. And even if it is able to do that with, double gear shift and then another card to draw 2, summon 2 random 4-cost minions is not a worthwhile payoff. It's really terrible. Like, Crystal Cove is bad, Goldbeard's too expensive, Water Cannon is just worse than uh, Swordfish, but like this card doesn't work. It just actually doesn't work is the issue. And then the best card is easily Dig for Treasure. I mean, it's 1 mana draw a minion in a class that just needs to tutor minions to win the game. Yeah, of course it's going to be the best card in Rogue. Getting a coin if it's a pirate is just like an alternative upside. Like, it doesn't actually matter to the power level of the card. Demon Hunter, all of them are shit. Every single one of the Demon Hunter cards is bad. Demon Hunter's best new card is the new 20-mana Giant. That being said, the worst one is easily CC. No, it's Blind Box, actually. It's Blind Box. CCG is bad, but Blind Box is worse. Get 2 random demons, outcast discover themselves. Random demons suck. This card is so atrociously bad. The best one is probably Umpire's Grasp. This isn't actually that bad of a card on its own. It's just, what the fuck else are you going to use it with, right? So this is probably the best one. It's just, holy shit, these cards are terrible. These cards are standard bad. Like, that's how bad these cards are. This should cost 1 mana. I mean, attacking twice is already hard enough. Warlock, worst card, easily Wheel of Death. Obviously. It's 8 mana, doesn't win you the game. It loses you the game more often than it wins. Crane Game, it sucks, yeah, but at least it does something. Curse Campaign, yeah, it sucks, but again, at least it does something. Wheel of Death never does anything. If you're able to make Wheel of Death work, your opponent isn't playing the game. Your opponent is probably a Silver 10 player, and you're playing in Silver 10 because you want to play bad cards and not win, but you know what? That's fine. You can do that all you want. Wheel of Death's still a terrible card. And then the best card is easily Table Flip. This is such a powerful card. If you're playing even Warlock and you tap every turn, you get it works on turn 3, and that's when you want it. Just very powerful card. Definitely sees play. Probably one of the best cards Warlock has gotten in years. Definitely good. Why is Warlock above Shaman? Why is Demon Hunter there? What? This website is so bad. Okay. The worst card is probably... No, not probably. It's definitely Shining Sentinel. 7 mana, 3/7, Taunt Elusive, Battlecry, someone to copy this. There's not even anything like interesting you can do with this. You know, Once Upon a Time is like an Evolved Shaman card. It's not a good one, but it is one at least. Wish Upon a Star is like a board buff. You can run this as like a fun combo with Hagatha and make like charge minions that have crazy stats. And, you know, I'm going to be doing it. Is it going to be good? No. Am I going to do it? Obviously. But it's definitely Shining Sentinel is the worst. And then for the best, I'd say it's actually a tie between Fairy Tale Forest and Baking Soda Volcano. Baking Soda Volcano is insane removal. Like, this is probably one of the best removal cards ever printed. Ever. Not only does it deal 10 damage to the board, which is pretty, it's good. It's not the greatest amount of damage for 4 mana. It's fine. But it heals you for that 10 damage. So it's a 20 health about swing, which is really, really good. Definitely up there. But Fairy Tale Forest enables Big Shaman, and Big Shaman is just one of those decks where, like, when it gets enabled a little bit better, just a tiny little bit, it becomes the best deck in the game. So I think the Fairy Tale Forest probably puts it to that point, because if you play this on 3, you always have Muckmorpher on 4, which isn't something you can say about the deck currently, yeah. Paladin, worst card is easily Wind Up Enforcer. I mean, Crafter's Aura is bad, yes, but you can cheat it out, and it's still like 3 6-drops, which is better than a 3/5. 3/5s are bad, shockingly. Come on, dude. This card is so obviously bad. 6 mana, 3/5, tradable. Battlecry, someone want to copy this, trade, upgrade. If it had Taunt, it would be in the question of like an okay card, but it doesn't have Taunt, doesn't have Rush. It's just automatically bad. It needs too much support to do anything. It costs way too much mana because it's not a 6 mana card. It's like a 7 mana card, and then at 7 mana, it's still worse than Azrae Chain Gang. The best card is... I didn't really think about that. I'm not gonna lie. Trinket Artist is pretty decent. It's 3 mana, draw 2. It's fine. Tiger's Plushie is probably the best one, actually. Or Flash Sale. I'd say these 3 cards are all about the same power level, but that power level is like not that great. Like, yeah, they're fine. They're definitely fine cards, but like, I don't really think it's amazing. You know, Flash Sale is fine. It's 4 mana, summon a 1/2, Divine Shield Taunt, give your minions +1/+2. That's fine. Trinket Artist, draw 2 cards. Fine. Tiger's Plushie, be 2 minions for Deputy Aura. Fine. They're all just fine effects. Nothing is outright amazing about them. Druid, the worst card is obviously fucking Sky Mother Aviana, 6 mana, 5/5, Battlecry, shuffle 10 random legendaries in your deck that cost 1 less. Obviously, it's the worst card. Do I have to really explain why? It's just a meme card. You know, meme cards are usually terrible, so it happens. The best card is probably Dollhouse. File is also really, really strong, but Dollhouse is probably the best. It enables this spell damage Druid that we're going to be seeing. I think it's going to be good. Spell damage Druid has a lot of strong cards that can make it work, so I think that Dollhouse is probably the best one. Warrior, the worst one is easily Bot Face. This is probably one of the worst cards ever printed, let alone one of the worst Warrior cards ever, let alone the worst card of this expansion. This card does nothing. It's uber expensive for incredibly understated body that doesn't do anything aside from give you bad value. And then the best card is a toss-up, I'd say, between Safety Goggles, Chemical Spill, and Quality Assurance. Safety Goggles is 0 mana, deal 6 damage with Odin, which is really strong. Chemical Spill is 5 mana, cheat out your Thaddeus, which is really strong. And Quality Assurance is 2 mana, draw 2, which is really strong. You could make an argument each way for which of these is the best or worst card, genuinely speaking. But I think I'm going to give it to Safety Goggles, because I think this card will see the most play of these cards. For the neutrals, it's a lot harder to do, actually, because there's so many of them, and because they affect different classes differently. However, the worst card, I'd say, is probably going to be, like, Origami Dragon. I'll do one for each rarity. Origami Dragon's probably the worst epic. Yeah. It's pretty terrible. I mean, even, like, Clown is not amazing, but Origami Dragon's definitely the worst epic. For the best epic, it's definitely Playhouse Giant, because it's the only one that's going to see play in any deck whatsoever, and that's Questline Demon Hunter. So, yeah. For commons, the worst one, there's a lot of really bad commons. It's a toss-up between Origami Crane and Floppy Hydra, I'd say. Does some of these just not have the... Oh, no. Wind-Up Musician. Wind-Up Musician's definitely the worst. It's so expensive. 6 mana, 5/5, tradable, Battlecry, deal 1 damage to all enemies. It's not actually 6 mana. It's got to be like 8 mana before the Battlecry even does anything, and then even at that, it's not good. Definitely Wind-Up Musician is the worst, and Observer of Mysteries is by far the best. You probably run... I could have shown Secret Mage in my one video. I wasn't planning on it because people don't like Secret Mage, but you run this in Secret Mage, and it instantly makes your 6/6 cost 0 for 3 mana, and it's a 2/2, which is pretty good. And then, on top of that, you can get you could get decent secrets, which, you know, that's nice. If you can do that. For legendaries, a lot of the legendaries are not good. Lena is terrible. Geppetto is terrible. Calyptoro is terrible. Whizbang is obviously terrible. I think I'm going to go with Lena being the worst one, though, because at best, it's 10 mana, summon a board of 4 mana minions, which is so horrifically bad. So horrifically bad. Like, what? Well, who the fuck designed this card and thought it would be playable by any means? And if it lives, what is your opponent doing? Right? And then the best legendary is obviously Ziliax. It's the best legendary of the entire set. I mean, do I need to explain why 0 mana... 4/5 Taunt, Rush, Divine Shield, Lifesteal is broken? Do I need to explain why 0 mana 6/4 is broken? Do I need to explain why 0 mana blah 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 is broken? No, I don't. And then finally, I want to do neutral last, because there's a lot of good neutral cards. Not neutral cards, sorry. Common cards. Treasure Distributor is really good. Sing-Along Buddy is really good. Giggling Toymaker is really good. Card Vader is honestly not that bad. Messmaker is really good. But I think for the worst one, it easily goes to Nesting Golem. 4 mana, 4/3 undead. Death Rattle, resummon this with -1/-1. If you hand buff it, it doesn't matter. It's still going to summon a 3/2. Like, what? Sweet and Snow Flurry is also up there for atrociously terrible, but I think it's at least a little bit better because it's 1 mana cheaper. That's it. That's the only reason why it's better. But for the best common, I mean, Messmaker's really good. Whelp is really good. All the ones I said before are really good. I think it's still got to go to Treasure Distributor because you're probably playing this in Pirate Rogue, and that's the only one of the actual good decks that is going to be running this card. But yeah, that's all the cards that I believe are going to be the best and worst in Wild for this expansion. If you like the video, like the video. Otherwise, tell me what you think in the comments below. Subscribe. I'll see you guys next time when the expansion finally drops later today. All right. Peace.